Kaine has dropped to third place behind former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Romney's 2-point lead is within the poll's sampling error. Kaine's now just 2 points ahead of Texas Governor Rick Perry. So how did Newt Gingrich basically tie up the race just 7 weeks ahead of the Iowa caucuses? Joining me now is CNN political contributors Ari Fleischer and Paul Begala. Well, I got to start with you on this moment by Herman Cain. The whole answer goes on for about 5 minutes, and it is painful to watch. What do you make of it?
May not be a full-on brain freeze, but it was at least a slushy, wasn't it? If I could give Mr. Cain some free advice, this may be advice actually Fleischer came up with. When George W. Bush was the governor of Texas, he was debating Al Gore. Gore knew a lot more about foreign policy than the governor of Texas did. But you know what Bush did in the debate? I went back and looked at the transcript, Ari. You'll love this. It was a brilliant performance. On so many issues, Bush really surprised Gore by saying, well, I agree with President Clinton on this. Yugoslavia, he called it a triumph. He said Clinton was right about Rwanda. He said Clinton was right about Israel. He said East Timor, which I don't know that he knew anything about, didn't matter. If Herman Cain had just said that, look, I think Obama kind of got it right in Libya. God bless him. Now let me talk about my 999 plan, something he knows about. It would have been much better.
Ari, you agree with that?
Well, what I agree is it's very hard to run for the presidency and basically make it your first time you hold elective office. I've said this about Herman Cain for a while. He's an exciting outsider, but he really needed to be more strongly credentialed by having run and won something previously, and I think it would have brought him a whole different approach to how he gets ready for substantive issues. That's really the problem here, Anderson.
Take a look at what this new CNN ORC poll found. Forget about just supporting Cain. Almost half the country doesn't think he should even be in the race at all. Even among Republicans, almost a third say it's time for him to go. I mean, is this the tip of the iceberg? Do you think this is a downward trend now?
You know, I don't, well, downward trend, yes. Herman Cain has been on a downward trend since the allegations broke against him, and he didn't have a strong enough wall underneath him to propel him forward in case anything like this broke in the public eye. But I don't think he needs to drop out. I think people in politics have to resist the temptation that just because you had a bad day or a bad week, you need to quit. These races are marathons, and the strong ones are able to go through it. And in this race, where so many people who are on the top have fallen behind, and people who are dead are now coming back, nothing says people can't turn things around. That's the test of a campaign. Yeah,
Paul, people had written off Newt Gingrich months ago. He's now not just up, his support has almost tripled. Is he just the latest anybody but Romney candidate, or could this be the start of a real shot at the nomination?
Well, at least I think it is this ABR phenomenon, which is what we're calling it now, anybody but Romney. You know, they had their flirtation with Donald Trump, and then it was Congresswoman Bachmann, and then it was Governor Perry, and then it was Mr. Cain. Now apparently it's Newt. Something there is that doesn't love Mitt Romney, and it's 3/4 of the Republican Party. I don't know why, and maybe Ari can tell us, but consistently you get 3/4 of that party that knows Mitt Romney, that just doesn't want to be for him. And so now they're looking for a fresh face. And when you think of a fresh face, you think of a guy 68 years old and first ran for Congress when Nixon was president.
Well, it's also called math, and when there are 8 candidates in a race and one person has a 25–28% plurality and the rest are closely divided, it's also the way numbers work out. It is interesting, too, Anderson, in that poll that Mitt Romney has a 3-point lead over Barack Obama. And so I do think at the end of the day, as this campaign goes along, the fact that somebody can beat Barack Obama becomes tremendously important, makes that person even more attractive. But there's still 2 months to go in this Republican race. And I don't discount that this is going to continue to be topsy-turvy. Only about 30% of the people in the CNN poll said that they strongly support their candidate. There's still a lot of room for change in this Republican race. Yeah. It's that volatile.
It's really interesting. Ari, Paul Begala, thank you so much. A quick program note, the Republican presidential candidates will face off again at the CNN Republican National Security Debate on November 22nd at 8 p.m.